Beyond Wrestling. This is Denver, Colorado, the man, not the place. Thanks for joining us. We got another match from the Coin Op Co-op, taped at the Chikara Wrestling Factory. We just trained with one of the best wrestlers in the world, one of the best trainers in the world, Lightning Mike Quackenbush. And now it's time to strut our stuff. We've got Nick Talon, somebody who's been in Beyond Wrestling for a number of years, going up against a newcomer, Chris Powers. Well, both of these individuals at 0 points. Of course, Chris Powers making his debut today, and many of the wrestlers have commented on how similar Chris Powers and Nick Talon are.
Hold the fuck up. Hey, I got to hear how much this kid looks at like me. Everyone thinks that they're funny, everyone thinks that they're cute. Yeah, but he has wish you were like me. He's more handsome. He's more handsome.
Well, Nick Talon seems upset by the comparisons that the wrestlers have been making all day. I mean, both of these guys in great shape.
You wish you looked like me. You wish you were Nick Talon.
And now it looks like Chris Powers perhaps mocking Nick Talon.
Are you copying me? Hey, he's a better Nick Talon than Nick Talon. Are you mimicking me? No.
I mean, over the last few years, we've seen what Nick Talon is and is not capable of. Chris Powers, we have no idea what this guy can do. But he might not even have an opportunity, because Nick Talon going right after the neck of Chris Powers. And of course, Nick Talon has a history of a neck injury. Perhaps that's going to be another similarity by the end of this match. Perhaps that's a place that he can target and damage on his opponent, Chris Powers. But Powers able to find an escape, now wrenching away at the wrist. I'm going to say the strength advantage probably going to be going to Nick Talon. He's got a few pounds on Chris Powers. And while Nick Talon has arguably the better physique, like I said, both of these guys are in great shape. Nick Talon's still new to the pro wrestling game. When he joined up with Beyond Wrestling, he was only 6 months in. I think Chris Powers with even less experience than that, but still proving that he can hold his own. Now trying to keep Nick Talon down on the mat with that front face lock. Talon able to find an escape. Now targeting the left arm of Chris Powers. And Nick Talon, just with a bona fide mean streak. I'm not sure if he's going after the hair, going after the ear. But risking disqualification nevertheless before breaking. Now nailing Chris Powers in between the shoulder blades with a series of headbutts. And once again, you can already see the welt starting to form. And now Talon transitioning to a side headlock, but Powers using his power to send Talon into the ropes. Talon knocking him down with a shoulder tackle. No respect whatsoever from Nick Talon. I mean, when Nick Talon first debuted with Beyond Wrestling, we saw that he had an issue with his attitude. That was something that Anthony Stone tried to work with him on. But unfortunately, once he teamed up with Mark Angel, he was right back to his old ways. Chris Powers taking too much time, but able to land on his feet. Nick Talon out of the way. Now Nick Talon trying to rethink the strategy on the outside. That's when having somebody like Anthony Stone in your corner could work wonders. Now Chris Powers going to be looking to take the attack to the outside of the ring. Charging in, but just gets plucked out of midair. And a great display of strength out of Nick Talon, driving his opponent into that steel post here at the Wrestle Factory. Probably not the most ethical maneuver, but effective nevertheless. Now rolling his opponent back into the ring. Making sure that he's in the center and going for that lateral press. Chris Powers powering on it too. Of course, Nick Talon, Mark Angel, the Academy of Anatomy have not been on the best of terms as of late. Nick Talon not even supposed to be competing at our Swamp Sessions live event. But Mark Angel using his power as the #1 ranked wrestler in Beyond Wrestling, switching up some of the matches day of. In the Academy of Anatomy, they fell short from Materi. Nick Talon trying to prove that he can get it done as a singles competitor. Chris Powers able to duck out of the way of the elbow. But Talon just overwhelming him, powering him to the ropes. But he made a mistake, turned his back to his opponent, and Chris Powers retaliating with some strikes of his own. I'm saying I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen out of Chris Powers so far. And he's certainly proven to be a lot more agile than Nick Talon. Now he's getting hooked up. Throwing him overhead with that half-hatch suplex. And connecting with the standing moonsault. The leg is hooked. And that was a close call for Nick Talon. Take another look. Great form on that standing moonsault. Very compact individual, driving all of his body's weight down on his opponent. And you can hear the wrestlers coming alive. Powers looking to send Talon off the ropes once again. Talon able to duck under the clothesline, tripping him up, sending him into that second rope. Just driving him throat first into that steel cable. And Talon pretty proud of his handiwork. Very smug individual. Of course, right now with a 50-50 record, I'm sure that he would love to improve that with a win over Chris Powers. And Nick Talon talking some smack to some of the other wrestlers around ringside. Of course, as we know, many wrestlers have a very difficult time when they debut in Beyond Wrestling adjusting to the atmosphere. It's very distracting not only competing to try and win the opponent, but you've got all the other wrestlers around ringside to worry about. Talon just put on the brakes. Powers sent chest first into the buckle, and he's not going to be winning a match. Caught in Nick Talon's trap like that. Just taking him down with that neck breaker. But that's not the type of pin you want to use to beat an opponent, whether they're new to Beyond Wrestling or otherwise. I think Talon's looking to make a statement here. He's been so effective for so long as part of a combination with Mark Angel, and now trying to prove that he can get it done as a singles competitor. These were on this time last year where you saw Nick Talon competing at the Crises Precipitate Change taping. Going up against an opponent by the name of Doug Summers. He was a one and done. Could that be the case here with Chris Powers? And Talon just raking away, breaking skin with his fingernails, and risking disqualification once again in the process. Not sure that he even needs to rely on tactics like that. An elbow followed up with a snapmare. Now driving the knee in between the shoulder blades. Again continuing to target the neck. And then I gotta say, Talon's had a pretty sound strategy coming into this match, and he's been able to execute it nearly flawlessly. But again, I mean, the referee with a better vantage point than I. It looked like he was pulling on the beard of Chris Powers. Now just wiping away some of the blood and slapping his opponent in the back with it. I think some of the other wrestlers are surprised to see blood in this matchup. And now Nick Talon picking away at the arm. And again, throwing his opponent back down to the mat. Again, very effective so far, targeting the back and the neck of Chris Powers. Not really in a hurry to finish this up. Uh-oh, now trying to bring Powers to that high-rent district. And now Nick Talon trying to climb to the top rope. Again, not as nimble as his opponent. Not sure how wise of a strategy this is. And as a result, taking a little bit longer to get to that top rope, Chris Powers with the opening to fight back. Now Powers perched up in that top rope. An excellent execution on that missile drop kick. That was a sight to behold, and he might have Nick Talon beat. 1, 2. Very, very close. And all it takes is 3 seconds to beat your opponent. And with Nick Talon making an escape like that, you're going to think that Powers is going to do what he can to try and capitalize. Now Powers going for a vertical suplex. Nick Talon putting on the brakes. Once again, hooking his leg around his opponents to make sure that that can't happen. And multiple shots to the back is going to allow Nick Talon to have the advantage. Trying to hoist his opponent overhead. But showing off, and as a result, Powers able to get back to his feet and spiking Talon on his head. Again, I thought we were going to see a different side on Nick Talon after his encounter with Drew Gulak. But instead, he's been very cocky, very brash. I mean, again, he could have driven his opponent down to the mat at any time, but instead, Powers able to find an escape. And now Powers again looking to fly off that top rope. But Talon just driving him face first into that top buckle. And it looks like Talon is done dilly-dallying. He's going to be looking to put his opponent away with that new submission he's been using. Just driving the point of his knee into the carotid artery of his opponent. A super effective variation of a sleeper hold, and Powers tapping out before he's put to sleep. But Talon's not even releasing the hold, continuing to do damage even after the bell is rung. I really would have thought that Talon would have learned his lesson, especially after having a match up with Drew Gulak, but clearly that is not the case. Nevertheless, able to pick up the victory against the newcomer Chris Powers, moving up to +1. I mean, Nick Talon, as effective as he's been in a combination with Mark Angel, proven he can get it done in a singles match.